Hello guys and welcome to another video. Today we will be playing the Pan-Asian Tier 6 premium cruiser Huanghe on the map Strait in the standard battle game mode. I've tried several times to pronounce it correctly, but I just can't, and I'm afraid you gotta live with my utterly wrong German-Chinese pronunciation mixture. But in case you are interested how to pronounce her name properly, here you go.
Huanghe.
Oh, and I also have one version of a native English speaker from an official wargaming video.
The first cruiser of the Pan-Asian Armada in World of Warships, Huanghe is a gallant warrior of the Celestial Empire.
Just try to replace my sad attempt of pronouncing it with one of those in your mind every time you hear it and we'll be fine. After this little linguistic digression, one more thing before we hop right into the battle. I just wanted to say thank you for the huge support of my Thunderer video. Considering the size of my channel, this video did really well and led to dozens of new subscribers. And in this regard, also a big shout out to the Sailing Robin. Him sharing the video on his channel was probably the main reason that it went semi-viral by my standards, and yeah, I think I've got the message. You guys really like memes, but for now we are back at our daily business playing random battles. Don't worry though, there will be more funny videos in the future for sure. While I'm staying close to the DD division in front of me to back them up if needed, let's quickly review my commander build and my upgrades. Nothing too uncommon here. I'm using a 19-point Pan-Asian Special Commander with the enhanced Pyrotechnician and Survivability Expert skills. It's only plus 1.5% fire chance and 2400 additional hit points respectively, but you know, every bit helps, especially with Huanghe's very small HP pool in mind. IFHE would also be a valid choice, but I'm deliberately laying my damage numbers in RNG's hands as I'm hoping to start as many fires as possible. As a side note, I don't take incoming fire alert nor priority target because I treat her like a DD, and those skills have become quite obsolete after the rework. So there are two things you want to keep in mind when playing Huanghe. First, don't accelerate more than quarter speed if you don't want to outrun your smoke. And second, her smoke firing penalty of 4.2 kilometers. You should also think a little bit ahead of what you're gonna do when your smoke runs out, so you don't get caught with your pants down in front of the enemy fleet. But with the Smoke Generator Mod 1 upgrade, you have almost 2.5 minutes of crawling smoke, so there's plenty of time to prepare a safe exit route. With that said, the enemy T-22 almost got a little too close for comfort. We take her out before she can cause any further harm, you would think, but enough of the foreshadowing, just keep watching. My goal is to keep my DD division alive as long as possible. In return, the enemies have a more balanced division, composed of a Mutsu, a Dallas and a Gnevny, and the Mutsu player is in fact an unicum, so this is going to be a difficult battle, and every mistake I make will potentially be punished very hard. Oh, and speaking of mistakes, one more little spoiler ahead. This game will be as close as it can be, and while I'll be doing my best to carry my team, you will spot a few poor plays on my side during the course of the battle. But I'll be trying to address them, so you'll get an impression what would have been the smarter play. So in spite of my desperate horn blowing, our Congo got taken out by the dead T-22's torpedoes. Our Kirov went down in the middle of the map. So far, so chaotic. The enemy New York and the Mutsu are retreating, and my smoke generator will expire soon. My DDs on the other hand are still pushing and run into the Gnevny. I'm trying to assist them as long as I'm concealed, but with the enemies in the north mostly disengaging, there's no point in pursuing them, especially not without my smoke screen. Both my DDs have now lost a considerable portion of their hit points, and to make things worse, the enemy CV is about to come in and our Vesteros will be caught fully broadside by rocket planes. Huanghe's AA is pretty strong for her tier, and while she can shoot down tier 6 planes with relative ease, it's never enough to prevent the carrier from landing at least one strike unless the planes eat flak. I'm still trying to cover my DDs, but I also need to keep my distance from the enemy BBs. Huanghe's armor scheme is a little bit like lottery. You never know what you're gonna get when you get hit. Will it be overpens or citadels? So the best way to survive in her is not getting hit in the first place. You can see that I'm getting more attention from the enemy Mutsu than I would like to get. She prefers to shoot me instead of the Texas that's closer to her, although she overmatches her basically anywhere. But oh well, the same can be said about my armor, and maybe the Mutsu player recognizes the threat that I'm posing to her team. In the meantime, let's have a look at the minimap. 2 enemy DDs and a cruiser seem to be rushing to a location where you'll often find CVs parking next to the islands, and it's also pretty close to our home cap, so I will be focusing my attention on this part of the map in a second. It's quite a concerning situation. We are about to lose our Mutski, which means my team will be 2 ships behind, and if the enemies manage to kill our CV, which seems to be quite oblivious of the situation, our chances to win will significantly diminish. You'll notice that the match will evolve to some kind of tower defense game in a minute or two, but if there's one ship class suited for this kind of game, it's light cruisers with smoke and HE like Huanghe, Perth and London. Do you think it's a coincidence that you only get this combo at tier 6 if you pay real money? By the way, here you can potentially witness a minor mistake. On the one hand, I think it would have been better to switch to AP as soon as the Ducha turned broadside. But on the other hand, I'm not familiar with her armor scheme, and often you'll end up only getting overpens with your 6-inch guns when shooting at other light cruisers, so I was sticking to HE for the reliable damage. The Ducha ran aground and will be an easy kill, but the situation as a whole remains completely chaotic. There are still 2 DDs basically in our spawn. The enemy Mutsu took advantage of the chaos and started to push in again, which means the Dallas and the Gnevny will most likely be close to our home cap as well, and it doesn't look great overall. Though there's a plethora of targets to shoot at, and I won't comment on every salvo, but keep in mind that for me personally, focusing on and dealing reliable damage to the bigger threats, aka the Mutsu or the Dallas, is my priority over missing an entire salvo on a DD that's taking evasive maneuvers. Regardless, you see me shooting a lot at DDs here, which is definitely the right call. But putting a little pressure on the Mutsu while I can do it safely doesn't hurt, in my opinion. Well, it does hurt the Mutsu, doesn't it? Sorry. We are getting pretty lucky with our fire RNG. Unfortunately, the Mutsu's damage control party is up, and as long as we can't set a new fire, we should actually be focusing on the enemy DDs again. The Japanese BB kills our Texas, which increases our deficit even further, so we really need to pick up another kill. The enemy team has plenty of low health targets, but most of them are out of reach from me or behind cover, so I mostly keep focusing the Mutsu to discourage her from pushing further, and once again, RNG will really favor us as we are about to start 2 new sticky fires, which will cost the Mutsu a decent amount of HP. The Dallas also got lit by us, but unlike the Mutsu, her damage control is available, so we won't get any additional fire damage on her, but just the raw damage we did to her could be crucial in the late game, even if it was only a few thousand hit points. Our Nürnberg kills their Nürnberg, so for now we are only 2 ships behind. My smoke generator is about to run out though, so I will be susceptible to damage for the next 2.5 minutes unless I stay dark, but I don't think I can afford not shooting my guns, and most likely I will be spotted by planes anyway. I will try to get a few more salvos on the Dallas as she clears the island. Maybe we can get a sticky fire, since her DCP should still be on cooldown. I don't know if it's the wisest choice of the American light cruiser to pick a fight with me, considering the HP advantage that I have, but she probably doesn't expect the game to become close, and I've preserved my health pretty well until now, so I'm happily taking the fight. I have to be wary of the Mutsu though. Now that I'm spotted, I'm the only visible target in the north, so I try to angle and play with my speed as best as I can, and I just hope I don't get citadeled from behind. Technically, 2 citadel hits from the Mutsu would be enough to kill me outright, and considering Huanghe's HP pool, which is the smallest among all cruisers at tier 6, it's a very risky endeavor to engage in the open and to allow battleships to get a clean salvo on you, but we get lucky here and only receive damage from a few overpens. In general though, it's ill-advised to take a fair fight with the BB. You want to be spamming HE mostly from the safety of your smokescreen. I mean, we all know how frustrating it can be to deal with light cruisers when you're in the BB, but every once in a while you somehow citadel them from the weirdest angles, and it's not something I'm looking forward to while playing Huanghe. Still, we have no other choice than engaging the enemy DDs while being spotted, and the Mutsu is still at a reasonable distance where I'm able to dodge most of her shells by playing with my rudder and speed, even when I can't have an eye on her salvos. On this occasion, having incoming fire alert would have been useful, but luckily the match progressed in such a way that I could comfortably bring all my guns to bear on the most important targets while being more or less perfectly angled in relation to the Mutsu. Fortunately, she ate a buttload of torpedoes from our Westeros and is forced to disengage. Now that she is retreating, I open myself up to use all my guns on her, and although I'm now at a much more dangerous angle of getting deathstruck, I know I'm relatively safe because the Mutsu is outturning her turrets by doing a full 180. And now that she is at low health, it looks like she's desperately trying to go dark, because she's not even firing her front turrets at the Gnevny. That's clearly visible, but with us lighting a permanent fire on her, she will stay spotted for a while, and I think our DDs are too close to her anyway. I probably could have played a little bit more aggressively here and pursued her instead of turning away initially, but then again I felt quite comfy defending, and there will probably be more ships running at our base. We are still 2 ships behind, but the enemy New York should go down very soon. The Dallas is basically a one-shot. I forgot about the Furutaka's health pool, but with my smoke being available, again I feel very confident in taking her on. Having said that, my team is not in a good shape either. My CV has still not moved yet, but she shall be forgiven since her only escape route was blocked by a bunch of DDs for several minutes, so it's probably a given that we will lose our Ryujo eventually. The New York dies, and here's the Furutaka. She also has already lost half of her hit points. This time I'm using AP, hoping to get some citadels, but apparently I'm aiming too high, so no source. She gets behind the island before I can correct my aim. The CV is harassing our Nürnberg, and the Mutsu is about to kill our Gnevny, so either me or the Nürnberg will have her full attention again in a second. What about the Furutaka though? Will she come around the island fully broadside? As long as she's not attempting to leave her cover, I'm switching back to HE for the Mutsu. As soon as I notice the Mutsu is targeting me, I will drop my smoke screen while continuing to go at full speed in an attempt to throw her aim off, hoping she aims for the slowdown. Unfortunately, it turns out that she kinda seemed to expect this, and she will get a pretty good hit on me. However, we did survive, which is the most important part. With our smoke now being deployed and the Nürnberg shooting in front of me, the Mutsu has a far more interesting target to shoot at. The Furutaka gets spotted again. She seems to be afraid of leaving her island, which is perfectly understandable. As expected, we lose our CV, and there's no way our German friend will live any longer under the sustained fire of the Mutsu and the enemy Ryujo, and wow, now it's a 2 versus 5. Not for long though, the Nuremberg did a lot of damage with her 6-inch guns during her last seconds. As you might know, German guns get 1/4 HE pen and can easily melt tier 6 BBs, which are mostly covered in 26mm plating. In comparison, Huanghe without IFHE only gets the usual 1/6 penetration, which is exactly 1mm short of being able to penetrate the plating of most tier 6 and 7 battleships. But in the end it's a fire that finishes off our Japanese opponent. Speaking of Japanese opponents, the torpedoes of the Westeros forced the Furutaka out of cover, and I was able to easily pick her off with AP, which turned the game into a more even playing field. Now the big question is, what will the Dallas do and where did the Minikaze go? She has not been spotted for the last 2 minutes. Is she going for our base or will she try to defend her own? Either way, we still need 2 kills to turn this game around. Judging by the minimap, it looks like the Ryujo pushed to a fairly aggressive position, which also explains the never-ending stream of planes with very few interruptions, so picking her off is probably the easiest way to get a few points for my team. We catch her just as she's trying to escape. It's difficult to bring all my guns to bear, cause she's constantly attacking me, and since the Dallas and the Minikaze are still alive, I can't just tank the planes to not lose speed or to use my guns in a more efficient manner. Actually, I'm very worried about the Dallas having my side while I'm dealing with the CV, so I'm frantically switching between the binocular and the freelook mode to catch any incoming shells and to dodge torpedoes and bombs. I think this game was a lesson that I might be investing my next commander point into incoming fire alert, who knows. We get the high caliber and the AA defense expert achievements, but it doesn't stop the Ryujo from attacking us over and over. The Dallas is now shooting at us, so I'm instantly switching my attention to the incoming fire. Exposing my side to rocket planes is not ideal, but given the amount of planes the Ryujo has left, it's the lesser of 2 evils because I can't allow the Dallas to get some easy shots on me. I know I need to make my own shots count here. Killing the Dallas is essential for even considering a comeback from the jaws of defeat. She's wiggling back and forth and I'm terrified she will realize her mistake in time before I can kill her and just go dark again, but she keeps firing. And after a few salvos we finally managed to finish her. Yes, this frag was so important. I don't want to be too harsh, but sorry, what a terrible misplay on behalf of the Dallas. I can totally understand that she wanted to prevent me from killing her CV, but she needed to do it from cover without dying, and there were plenty of islands to hide behind. Regardless, back to the CV, our little detour allowed the Ryujo to increase the distance to us. So maybe Dallas' death was not completely in vain, since I had no other choice than turning around completely. If I had kept going forward, not only would have been an easier target for the Dallas, but she also would have been able to keep that small island between her and me, essentially allowing her to shoot me without being detected herself. So I couldn't let this happen at all costs, but this way the CV slipped away from us. We are still losing and I'm convinced we need another kill to win, so I was really hoping the Westeros would take the right way around the island to cut the Ryujo off on the other side, but apparently my DD has other plans. I'm still trying to dodge the plane attacks, which keep slowing me down. It's debatable if it was necessary to dodge the AP bombers, because it's relatively rare that you get citadeled by them in a light cruiser. But I was not in the mood to take my chances. My DD argues that we should cap because we don't know where the enemy Minikaze is, which is true, but it's literally impossible for her to cap our base in the time that's left on the clock. All she can do is enter the cap and prevent us from getting 2 points every 6 seconds. But that's exactly the plan of our Westeros, sailing into the enemy base so the red team won't gain any points anymore for the remainder of the battle. You can do the math. On the one hand, if the Minikaze had entered our base at the very moment when the Westeros still had the chance to take the other way around the island, it was already too late for our base to being fully captured. Only our point deficit would have increased by additional 40 points, which would have resulted in a total deficit of 65 points, but on the other hand, killing the CV will give you a net benefit of 110 points immediately. So in my opinion, this would have been definitely the better option, and my only hope is to catch the CV in the remaining time. Less than 30 seconds left, still no CV in sight. It's becoming increasingly unlikely that I catch her in time, and it looks like the match will go right down to the wire. Oh boy, look at the points, we are still behind. 10 more seconds. Will it be enough for my team to catch up? Come on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 518 to 519. Come on, let's go. Yes! Yes! Oh my god. Oh. 1 point. We did it, boys. 1 point. 1 point is all you need. Oh my. I take everything back. Our Westeros had to be a math wizard. Everything was calculated. It was never even close. And I was totally exaggerating. Sorry, Westeros. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and consider subscribing. I hope to catch you next time. See you soon and take care. I don't know if it's the wisest. As soon as I notice the Mutsu is targeting me, I will draw my move, where I'm able to dodge most of her